Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another trading show here at Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be your host for today. We're on today's show and every trading show. We only do charts. We don't do news and all the stuff we do in the morning show. And so today, a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, obviously, Bitcoin. A long trade we entered into that is currently in the red. Well, oh, no, it's in the green. It's in the green, guy. Oh, no, it's in the red. All jokes aside, this ENA trade, I did post it in our Discord. And so I'll break down exactly why. It was really just one indicator. And I know I've said multiple times that I don't enter trades on one indicator, but this was a very high time frame. And I'll give you case studies of previous Bitcoin altcoin charts that when this signal flashed on the weekly time frame, we saw massive rallies. And so we entered that. And we're also going to take a look at Tau. And we're going to do a little case study on SWI. Dominance on SWI has been skyrocketing, as obviously the price has been skyrocketing along with it. And so what would it look like price-wise? And I got my handy-dandy calculator here. What would that look like price-wise if SWI reaches Solana level dominance? We're going to do the math. We'll talk about that. We'll do a little bit of moon math. We'll take a look at some ADA, and then we'll look at what is overvalued, or excuse me, oversold and overbought. So make sure to like the video, and let's jump in. Also, please keep in mind, if there are any charts you would like me to take a peek at, whether it's from a fundamental or a technical standpoint, please let me know in the comment section, in the chat, and I will make sure to do so. I'm going to give a quick shout out to some of the people in here. I want to throw some love to all the mods. Rusty Bot, what's going on, my brother? Papa's in here. We also have DeFi Crypto Airdrops. Hello, DeFi Crypto Airdrops. John Vic, French Toaster, K Diggity, and Robert Coleman said ACH. I'll give you my ACH info if you want to send me some money to my bank account. Thank you very much. And Ben said IMX. Okay, so render. Let me grab a handy-dandy notebook here on the computer. Let me write this down because I have the short-term memory of a 2-pound squirrel. And so, okay, so we got ACH, we got render, and the other one was IMX. Okay, cool. All right, so I'll keep this up here. I'll minimize it on my side, and I'll kind of keep this window open. That way I do not forget to look those over. I do want to start with BTC first, though. If that's okay with you guys, let's take a peek here at Bitcoin. So really, higher time frames. I was kind of sifting through Market Cipher B. Nothing really, right? Did get a bullish crossover on the money flow from red to green, which is great, right? The last time on the daily, we saw money flow cross. We stayed there for quite a long time. If we take a peek here, let me minimize this and let's get this more into focus here. And so we've really been in red money flow since the 8th of February. And so we take a look back at when was the last time we saw a significant crossover. And I don't mean this where it lasted, I don't know, what is this? The 19th of August through like, 2-3 weeks. I'm talking something like this, where we're seeing expansion of the money flow for several weeks. And that was on the 21st of September of last year. And we just measure out BTC. That was when BTC started its rally to its first all-time high, which sat around $108,500. And so that was a 74% move for Bitcoin. Not saying that is exactly what we're going to see here as the money flow again cross to the upside. It might be something like this, where it was just a brief crossover and then we came back down, but ultimately we came up and started seeing that thing expand. And so that's something I'm keeping my eye on from a technical, I guess, indicator standpoint. But the one interesting thing here on BTC, I was like, this range here from the 26th of November through the 23rd of February. So a solid, what is that, 3-4 months? December, 3 months before Bitcoin had that spill off from around 96K. And if we take this zone here, you can see we are catching resistance right at our POC, our point of control. Now, we did cross the value area high, value area low, and the value area high sits at the all-time high closes, not the wicks, but the closes. And so that is where Bitcoin currently is. It is fighting a battle, looking to take this POC, which again sits at around 95,790. Bitcoin had this massive move up, so we want, not just expecting, but we want to see a little bit of a cool off in BTC as we start consolidating for the next leg up. Now, how long will that consolidation last? That is the question that everyone wants to know. But we can look at some indicators to figure out how long it'll last, and we usually work our way down to the lower time frames on BTCs. You can see that beautiful bounce. 92.5, my friends, is a key level, and so if we get back down to 92.5, I would say be ready to enter into a long position on BTC. But of course, not something I want to put a limit order in on, but I want to take a peek when we do get to that level. What are some indicators looking like? What is the volume looking like for BTC? But overall bullish, man. We talked about Bitcoin crossing its 200-day moving average on the daily time frame. That was extremely bullish. Can we get a retest of this potentially? That sits at 90.6K. Our high as far as our 200-day moving average. And then, of course, we talked about the Ichimoku breakout, the cloud in really 2 candles. We broke this thing. Now, there could be a potential for a retest down here, sub 90K. I don't think that's very likely. I do think these levels we have before we hit that sub 90K, you have a key, you have a really strong support level at 91.3, and then you have the other one again. The big one for me is 92.5 for BTC. And so if we can stay above 92.5, we can trade above, put in some higher highs as we had. This was a very key level right here. And let me clear up the chart just a little bit. Let's get rid of our MA ribbon. I guess we can keep the cloud on here. But this move here, this was back on the beginning of March. We opened up March. We saw Bitcoin rally from 84.1 to a wick high of 95K. And then the very next day, we gave it all back, attempted to retest, failed on the attempt, or failed at the 92.5, got rejected, and essentially spilled off, creating this low and then this higher low as well. Which essentially turned out to be a bullish divergence once you pulled up the RSI. But this is a very important level, right? Lots of volume coming in at this level, and we have cleared that level and closed multiple candles above. And let me drop a horizontal here so we can look. Excuse me, we've closed 1 candle above. 1 candle above the open back on the 2nd of March. And so we have another support level now, 94,287 if we do get that low, but Bitcoin is currently seeing a really little bit of a nice rally here, 95.1 we're seeing some spikes in volume coming in as well. We can take a peek at market cipher B. Our VWAP is still trading below our midline. Our zero line, that's on the 1 hour. It's on the 4 hour, should be above. Yeah, so we're still sitting above our midline on the VWAP on the 4 hour. Lower time frames though, we do need to come back up and push that thing to the upside. And so that's kind of Bitcoin. It's kind of been stale. It teetering between that 94.5 to 95.5K level. I do think the next leg up though, let's actually go to the higher time frame. Let's take a peek at where we can catch some resistance at the next leg up for BTC. Actually, I think I have some levels here. So let's throw on the quarterly. So quarterly, I have my quarterly at 94.2. That is 1 key level. And then my yearly's all the way on the bottom. There we go. So there's my daily and monthly. So we'll leave the daily. So high time frame as far as the daily goes. And let me get rid of this. 102.382. That would be a key resistance level to keep an eye on. But the other one here as well, I'll drop another one and I'll change this color to, let's go orange on this one. 99.4. And we take a look historically, what has price done here? Rejection, reclaim, rejection, bounce, support, all-time high, come back down, retest, fail, break above, came right back down, and then caught support again for that second push to our second all-time high. And then on the way down, we did have a couple wicks testing this 99,483 region. And then on the way down, as Bitcoin was consolidating and attempted to break out again, it got continuously rejected. This was 1, 2, 3, and 4 times before ultimately spilling off to the downside. And so 99,483, we'll just call it $100,000. We know the psychological round numbers, how important they are. And so that's the level that I'm really looking at. You also have this zone here, this little area where Bitcoin pretty much chops sideways. And that zone sits between 95.6 and again, that 99K region. So just some things to keep an eye on, but BTC looks great. We did have that green dot on the weekly that's played out fairly nicely since then. Now, this was one case study. I talked about entering on Athena on a single indicator, and that was on the yes, yes, yes. I'm hoping you guys are in this trade. This is what I was waiting for, right here. My little green buddy. Anchor wave, trigger wave, push to the upside, and on the weekly, green dot. Green dot on the weekly. Now, again, BTC, green dot on the weekly. What happened to the price? Let's take a peek. Green dot on this candle. The very next candle is a 12% candle. Now, this is on the weekly, okay? ENA, green dot on the weekly. First one ever. Obviously, this is a fairly newer chart going back to really April of this year. Wait, oh no, April of last year. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Okay. So April of last year. So not enough data on the higher time frames. So, but this is nonetheless, this is our first green dot on the weekly. So that's extremely important. And then the 1 hour just confirmed for me. This should be a really, really nice trade. So I would highly recommend, actually, not financial advice. I am very confident in this trade, this Athena trade. We got the 1 hour anchor wave, trigger wave set up, and we also have the green dot on the weekly. And if you were in our Discord as part of our VVIP trading group, you would have gotten this. You would have gotten that signal before the show went live. And so shout out to those of you that are there. If you're not there and you want to be there, there's a link in the description of the video. French Sosa said, is that a Davy Flaggy? What? A what? Davy Flaggy. The good days. Okay. So on ENA, since we kind of move off of Bitcoin, let's stay on ENA. I think I was looking on the, excuse me, the weekly on ENA. And so very similar pattern that we're seeing from Athena now that we saw really going back to April of last year, where you saw this, just this rounded bottom, right? And so when Athena from close low to high, rallied around 532%. And so we're getting something very similar. And this chart looks like the bottom is in at around 27.62 cents. And so if we did the same measurement of the move up, which was 560% off this low, let me get rid of, there you go. Off this low, 506%. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly how this is going to play out, right? So 560%, we're looking at we'll just call it a $1.95 ENA Athena. And so, but again, it doesn't mean that it's going to play out exactly like it did last time, but it's just a good gauge of a very, very similar, if not identical setup to what we've seen previously in the past. And Athena rallied 562%. Now, you guys know if you watch our morning show and this show, how bullish I am on stablecoin, specifically institutional stablecoins. And Athena fits into that narrative. And the other ones as well, Curve, Convex. If you guys are in those, I believe those are all doing fairly well. But to be fair, the market overall is doing fairly well also. And so that was Athena. I kind of wanted to come on here and explain that trade setup. I'm just going to take a peek at the chat. There's 96 viewers, 31 likes. Shout out to all of you. Thank you for liking the video. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. Mohammed's in here. What's up, Mohammed? Let me guess. Everything's going to zero. Also, Poman, 10 gifted membership. My dude. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you very much. Also, I see Rocco's in here. Rocco, what's up, man? Why are you so quiet, bro? You got to say something, man. So, okay. Let's take a peek. Okay, so I want to get into Tau Sweet Ada, but let's knock off one of these requests. Let's look at ACH. Alchemy Pay. Let's take a peek at you. All right, so you guys know how I roll. I always operate high time frames first, so we are on the weekly. Okay, let's throw on cloud. Okay, so we're in no man's land, right? On the higher time frame for Alchemy Pay. And so on the higher time frame, we don't do anything, but we also did get a green dot on our weekly time frame for Alchemy Pay. Let's see what the daily looks like. Same thing with the daily. We're in no man's land, but the daily actually looks better than the weekly. As you can see, we've got a twist of our cloud, so that's bullish. We also have our conversion line trading above our baseline, which is also very bullish. We just need price to break out of this cloud. We need price to break out, and the level we're looking at, and I'll drop a flag here. This is around 3 cents. So if we can clear 3 cents, I am interested in potentially entering on a retest, right? And that would be, oh, look at that. It's like that Sons of Anarchy logo there. What a great show that was, by the way. Anyone ever seen Sons of Anarchy? Curious, or is it just me and my wife? And so on the higher time frame, the structure is still in a downtrend. You do have this really, I mean, this is actually, let's get rid of those. And let's get rid of this. This thing is probably getting ready to break out soon. You can see it's attempted a breakout of the neckline really 3 times now, the last 3 consecutive days, and it's failed. And these candle bodies are getting smaller and smaller. And so there's a big move coming, and I am curious. Those are expanding. Let's throw this on. Let's see where some volume's coming in for buys and sells. It's on the daily. Let's go into the 6 hour. Let's take a peek. Yeah, you have this massive sell wall. So around 16.8 billion Alchemy tokens have been sold around 2.91 cents, which sits just a tiny bit above our neckline that, again, we are trying to break out of. And so for me, this is a wait and see. And the level I'm eyeing, if you're looking for a trade, is 2.8482 cents. We get a breakout. I want to see a retest. You know how I roll on my trades. I want to see the breakout. I want to see a comeback retest, hold up as support. And then we want to take a look at market cipher B, see what the money flow, stochastic oscillator, the RSI is telling us. And then also the other important thing to keep an eye on is volume as well. Do we see an increase in volume on the move up? And on the way down, what do we see? Do we see a V-shaped recovery? And so that is what I keep my eye on. So for me, from a TA standpoint, from a trade, enter, exit, this is a wait and see, but we're at the very end, in my opinion, of a inverse head and shoulders pattern that should break to the upside. These are pretty high up there in probabilities. But again, we're in indecision, and then obviously going back to the cloud, we are in no man's land, and so we really don't want to do anything. The ideal scenario here would be to break out above our cloud, which is sitting at 3 cents, and then come back and get a retest. You know what? Actually, I wouldn't even wait to retest the neckline. I'd feel fairly confident if we do get a breakout with some volume. So that neckline retest would be around 2.85 cents. I would feel fairly confident if we got a retest of our cloud here, top end of our cloud, which is sitting right around 3 cents. I feel fairly confident enter into long there instead of waiting that 0.015 cents. And so, yeah, that's Alchemy Pay. I do want to take a peek at BitTensor. BitTensor is at a key pivotal level now on the daily, as it has officially broken out of the cloud. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. Why? Because the candle is still live. 2 hours, 38 minutes, and 57 seconds, and counting until this daily candle closes. But this chart looks extremely good. Why? Again, cloud, green, great. Price broke above the cloud, great. And our moving averages are trading where they should be trading for an uptrend. We take a look at market cipher B, and sometimes you just look, you're like, not really information I can take or use to make a trade with. So that's BitTensor on the daily. We zoom into the weekly. Yeah, we are still fairly far Actually, that we'll leave the weekly on the cloud because there's just not enough data. We don't have a full cloud set up yet. And so we'll stick on the daily. Maybe we can take a peek at the 2-day. So the 2-day is telling us, so the 2-day, the higher time frames are still bearish as far as the trend. And you can see here a perfect rejection of our cloud on a wick. But again, the daily is where I want to focus on. And so if we can close above, if this current candle closes above $353.70 pesos, then I am potentially looking at a long on BitTensor. I do want to see what price action does, and then obviously on the lower time frames as well. But you guys know how bullish I am on Tau. It looks like we're about to get a bearish crossover on the 1 hour. Hopefully this baseline stays flat right here. Hopefully this little sucker stays flat. Because if we get that crossover, that would be our first bearish indication. And then we'll see what the cloud does. But this is on the lower time frame. This is on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. 4 hour looks great. Expanding cloud. And so when you see and this is just, from this indicator standpoint, when you see the cloud start to thin, that means think of it like a Bollinger Band, right? The bands get tighter. There's a big move coming. Same thing when you see these bands start to get tight. And remember, this is 26 days looking back, okay? So when you saw this thing get tight here, you look back 26 days, and then what happened, right? So let's actually do this in real time. 22nd of April, 26 days would have been the 24th of March, right? The 24th of Oh no, this is on the 4 hour. I'm tripping here. So 26 candles back, okay? Let's just say we're somewhere in this area here, okay? So 26 candles back, and that's when BitTensor went from $231 to a high of $374. My God. So I know my boy Billy was in here, Crypto Billy. Shout out to you, my friend. He's talking about he bought 15 BitTensor because he heard some guy on YouTube talking about it. Wonder who that could be. Okay, so that's that. I want to take a peek at the market cap list, and then I want to do this. SUI case study with you guys. Kind of get your thoughts on it as well. Okay, so ETH below 1,800 again. That was an interesting article we shared this morning by Charles Hoskinson, and thinking ETH is going to become obsolete. Man. I might have to capitulate here sometime soon. We'll see, though. I'm personally giving ETH a little more time. I am not punting on ETH just yet. Solana seeing a nice rally back over $150, and then ADA sitting at 71.5 cents. We did put out an ADA video earlier, so if you're an ADA fan or you're just a fan of crypto, make sure to go watch that video. That is on our channel. Now, the top gainers, 24 hours. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. I don't know how many people hold this one. That's up 55%. And then Virtuals Protocol. Let's take a peek at Virtuals. Virtuals had a new rollout of their new Genesis product, which is looking to get rid of snipers. I know that's been a massive sticking point, a thorn in the side of traders and retails alike, is snipers and how they're absolutely destroying new launches. And we'll look. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at that volume. Let's see. This is on the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly. Green dot on the weekly just printed on this massive candle. This is a 67% weekly candle, and you guys can see these levels that I've had on here. This has been on here for the last few weeks. $1 psychological. And from a technical standpoint on the higher time frames, $1 has been a key level. As you can see here on the way down, we attempted to hold this level, ultimately failed on this single candle. This is a 50% weekly candle on Virtuals Protocol. The daily, it is looking to break the cloud. We did just get, this was on Monday. We got that twist of the cloud to green. We have our 9-day trading above our 26-day. We just need price. And you can see the confluence here, top of the cloud with our dollar level, $1 level that we had mapped out here. That is a key level. And so for me, from a trading standpoint, I am doing nothing until we break out of this cloud and we do get a retest of that dollar. And so if you're looking for a long on Virtual's protocol, look for a retest back to $1 after a successful breakout, which hasn't happened yet. It's on the way to happening. Once we get this breakout above our Kumo cloud, retest of $1, we get that with volume, but this volume is looking really good. When Virtuals moves, it moves, man. And so AI narrative's heating up. The team has been continuing to build. And so this is a project that I hold a decent, well, not a decent, a pretty big amount of. Actually, I can't share that information, but the Patreon members know exactly where Virtuals protocol lands in the order of operations in my portfolio. And so again, dollar, wait for a break above the cloud, wait to see that retest of $1. Now, if we do break above and we see Virtuals go ballistic, parabolic, look for $1.21. That level would be my first level. Maybe you're in a long already. If you're in a long, right, I would make sure you're taking some profits before we hit $1.22. So you can see what price is done at these levels, right? Consolidated support, resistance, and then ultimately resistance before we absolutely got smacked, came down to that 53-cent level. And I think we had bullish div on this as well. Not really. No bullish divergence on Virtuals. I would just had to take a peek. So yeah, that's from a technical standpoint, fundamental standpoint, great. It's just the AI agent space is extremely, what's the right word to use here? Is flooded. There's a lot of AI agents, there's a lot of protocols. And so I would say that's the one thing. But my conviction in Virtuals protocol, although it has wavered a little bit, I still hold faith in the team and what they're doing. These guys just hit the nail on the head day after day. Okay, let's take a peek at SWE. I mentioned SWE had a massive run on dominance. SWE dominance was 0.25%. It has almost doubled. It almost doubled on this wick. And it's still sitting at 0.4%. And so you guys watch our show. You guys know I always talk about, well, what is one project that SWE reminds me the most of? And that is Solana. VC funded, quick to market, lightning fast, very user-friendly. Their dApps and their builders, they put users and the users first. And it's a sexy product, right? If you use SWE, very user-friendly. The UX and UI is great, okay? So I'm like, okay, let's say SWE dominance gets to Solana dominance at the peak of its cycle, right? Or the peak dominance Solana had, which is, we'll call it 4%, just for numbers' sake, okay? 4%. Let's start with 4%, and then we can play with the numbers later. So I got my calculator here, okay? So let's pull this up. No, not you. Let's pull this up. There we go. So you guys know my base case for the overall market cap of crypto has been 10. What is that? That's 10 billion, $10 trillion. Okay. And if SWE gets to Solana's dominance, let's say SWE is the next Solana, it's going to take over the entire altcoin space. Everyone's bullish on it, yada, yada, yada. Crypto blows up, 10 trillion market cap times 4%. That would give SWE a market cap of $400 billion with around 3.5 billion in tokens currently circulating. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and put 4 billion in tokens circulating. We'll try to account for the unlocked tokens that are going to be unlocked. And you're looking at a price of $100 per SWE. That's at 4% dominance. That is the height of what Solana got to. Let's just say it gets to half of that. It's a $50 SWE. So you're looking at current price of SWE. I think it was what, $3.58. And so $100, what's that? 28x, 29x. Now, that's not my base case, okay? I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen this way, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on if it follows Solana's path and if it can get the users, the dApps, and continue to put the users at the forefront. As far as from a technical standpoint, SWE has been crushing it. I would caution you though, those of you that are looking for trades, I would caution you to be careful on any longs on SWE, right? This thing has ran hot. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the largest candle in SWE's history. Weekly candle. Currently sitting at 68.72%. What is it? 55. Yeah. So this is the largest weekly candle in SWE's history. And you can see catching a little bit of resistance at that 26-day moving average. And so careful with any longs. That's what I'll tell you. We did just get a green dot on the weekly on SWE as well. But that's not to say we can't see a little bit of a pullback before SWE starts taking off again. Daily looks great. Broke that structure on increasing volume. Green cloud, all the parameters for a bullish reversal, a bull trend is intact as far as the Ichimoku cloud goes. We can go down to the 4-hour. Should catch a little bit of support right around this 9-day moving average, which sits at $3.39. As you can see, what SWE has done previously on this candle here, this was yesterday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. That bounce took SWE 14%. So if we do come here, this would be a level that I'd be interested in longing SWE at. Now, there are some short opportunities as well. But just like 4 weeks ago, how I was hesitant to put in any longs, I told you guys that I was more confident shorting resistance than longing support. Now is the opposite. Now I am way more confident longing support than shorting resistance, as the markets overall have turned bullish. And so for me, I am hunting for longs. And if I do get into a short, it's for a very, very short period of time with extremely tight stop losses on really anything in crypto, including BTC. And so for a trade setup on the 4-hour, I want to see a bounce off of $3.39. Again, that is our 9-day moving average. We'll take a peek at Market Cipher B. 4-hour, we do want to see that VWAP crossover above our midline, but that expanding money flow is looking really good. This thing was flat, right? We had a little bit of a rally there, flat, and then just this expansion. We want to see that thing continue to go up. And then we want to see, again, that crossover on our VWAP back above our 0 line, trading in the positive. You can see here, we're currently at -5.5. But from a fundamental standpoint, man, I think SWE could be a winner this cycle. I really do. It's got the new coin narrative. It's got a lot of money behind it. And it's fast. It's got badass dApps, and people like it, man. People like it. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to take a quick break, take a peek at the chat here, see what everyone's doing. Again, big thank you to Poman for gifting those memberships. Also, sorry about yesterday, guys. I wasn't feeling good yesterday. I don't know what it was. I feel like crap. I had to go home a little early, so left my boy Rob here by himself. Rob, I'm sorry, man. Blocky Crypto, what's up, man? I don't know if I've seen you in here. Any thoughts on Near? Okay, Vikey, I'll add Near to my list. Okay, speaking of the list, let's go down the list. Let's talk about Render. Okay, Render was the next one. Oh, and then let me make sure to put Ada in there so I don't forget. My boy, I think it was Poman that gave that super chat earlier. Okay, Render. Fundamentally, I am extremely bullish on Render. Julian Erbach, ties to Apple. Again, working the higher time frames first. Obviously, we are still in a bear trend or in a downtrend for Render, according to our cloud. We zoom into the daily. Daily bullish trend confirmed. As you can see, we have broken above our cloud, and we've gotten, did we get a retest? We did not get a retest. And so we did not get a retest of our cloud, which does happen. And so this would have been a trade that I would have been sitting there waiting for that retest around $3.92 and just never got it. So what I'd recommend is what I'd recommend is if that happens, don't chase. Look for the next one. I see super chat, Dave. When we get Blocky as a guest host on these trading videos, I don't know who Blocky is. If Blocky's a trader, Blocky, if you're a trader, let me just shoot me an email. David at sincitycrypto.io. Shoot me an email because I don't know who you are. I don't know if you trade, if you're yeah. Shoot me an email, and if there's something that that we can work together on, I'll be more than happy to make that happen for you. So, and thank you to Poman as well. So yeah, back to Render. And so trade setup, I'm not really seeing anything yet. Maybe entering a retest of this 9-day moving average, which sits at $4.19. Take a peek at market cipher B. Expanding money flow, VWAP, we need that crossover to the upside. We did get a red dot, though, on the daily. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. But again, not something that is meant to scare you. And this was a really nice W pattern here that we came into. Came back, retested that 9-day moving average. And then since then, Render has rallied around 33%. Let's work our way down to the lower time frame. See if we can find any scalp opportunities here on Render. Let me actually remove my high volume points. Oh, that's the other thing I want to take a look at. I want to take a look at where are we at for our 200-day MA. Oh, we got some room to make up here, my friends. So your 200 MA, we start talking at $5.36. And so we crossed that. Right, we saw Bitcoin do that. We saw a bunch of other altcoins do that. We need to be trading above our 200-day moving average. That is extremely important. And then historically, what happens when you get a crossover, right? If you keep your eye on this 200 MA, and you can even set alerts. I would say just maybe check it once every 5 days. Set your first alert at $5.35, and then every 5 days, 7 days, take a look at where the MA band has moved. That way, when it does get a crossover, you can throw your chart on and see if you can catch a potential trade opportunity. And so last time, Render was trading below its 200-day moving average. We got a break above. We came back to retest the close, right? So you have 3 ribbons. You have you have high, close, and low. Yeah, God damn it, I am mixing this up. Let me just do this. Low, close, high. Okay. So your low, your close is in the middle, and your high is at the top. We came down, retested our low, and then on that retest, a long entry there. The initial leg was a 30% move. Came back to retest the high. Okay. Came back and retest the high. And if you would have bought the high on a bounce, you're looking at 50% plus gain. And so that is what we're looking for, right? If you want to keep things simple and you want to make it as high probability of a trade as possible, maybe you're not a scalper. Maybe you're just a swing trader who trades daily, 2-day, weekly, monthly timeframes. 200-day MA bounce, break above, buy it on the bounce, long that sucker, make some money. And so that is for Render. And then I did want to take one peek at the lower time frame. 4-hour might be giving us an opportunity for a long here if we can get back down to around $4.35.5, as that would be the top end of our cloud. We take a look. And again, I do like to look at what has price done historically. And when I say historically, it does not mean a year ago. It could very well be just 5 days ago or whatever that amount is. And so last time we saw price come back down and test the cloud, from wick to wick, it was a 15% rally. And so that is what I'm looking at. And we are not too far off, my friends. So if you remain patient, $4.35.5 is something I would keep my eye on Render. Market cipher B. We are getting a negative expansion of our VWAP. We're sitting at minus 13. That's pretty high. But for what it's worth, I guess, got a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders. So we should see that VWAP break to the upside. That's what we want to see. We want to see this RSI stochastic slowly move their way up. And this was actually a sell signal, market cipher B, giving us a anchor WAP or excuse me, anchor wave, trigger wave, short signal. Let's see how that trade would have done. I usually use this for longs, but obviously you can use it in the end. This trade would have been nice, man. You were enter here at around $4.47. Currently sitting at $4.41. It looks like Bitcoin is seeing a little bit of a drawdown. Let's take a peek at the Bitcoin chart. Again, we stay above 94,157. That is a level. We also have confluence there on our 9-day moving average as well. And so we'll see what BTC does. Let's take a peek at the super low time frames. This is the 10-minute to get a bearish. Actually, we should catch some support right here around 94,733 on the 10-minute time frame for BTC. Nothing I'm really seeing on Market Cipher B. Let's take a peek at Market Cipher A. Market Cipher A, we got a twist of our moving averages, and so this signifies a reversal of the previous trend, which was up. But again, we should see support catch at 97.5, or excuse me, 94.7. So we'll see what price does. Nothing else I'm seeing, but again, as hot as Bitcoin has ran, it needs to cool off just a little bit. So that's render. Let's take a peek at ADA. Okay, so ADA getting rejected at its 200-day moving average is not good, right? So you can see here, 200 MA. Also, let me get rid of the MA here. On the daily, ADA is one of the few altcoins. There's some, it's not the only one, that has not broken at least through the cloud, okay? At least through trading into the cloud for ADA. And so you can see as we approach the cloud on a wick, we're getting rejected. And so this thing is still in a downtrend for ADA on the daily. And again, if we get rid of the cloud, we throw on our MA ribbon. Perfect rejection of our MA. Now, this is not to say that I'm looking for a short here on ADA, because what you also have on ADA is you have this inverse head and shoulders pattern that we broke above, retested on a wick, but can we come back down here again and retest this neckline, which again, you see that perfect confluence of that support level we have mapped out on here, which is around 67.6 cents for ADA. And so that is the level I have my eye on for a potential long. Again, not to say that we just blindly enter longs, but we take a peek at some other indicators as well. But getting rejected on the 200 MA is not good. But we do know that ADA the ADA chart can change fairly quickly, fairly fast. I mean, look at this. Just, what is this? This is on the daily. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days of almost 10+% candles that completely took out the 200 MA, never got a retest, and price just went up from there. I'm trying to find a scenario where we failed to retest. Okay, here you go. So this is an attempt to retake our 200 MA, and we failed, right? This was back on November of 2023. We got all the way to our close, failed, and then the next 3 candles we broke above. And this time we did get a retest on a wick right here, this candle right here. We did get that retest on a wick. That would have been a beautiful entry, and that trade would have made us a lot of money. And so we're looking for something similar here, okay? We want to be patient when we're playing the higher time frames. We want to see the ideal scenario here, my friends, would be a retest of our neckline / support level, 67.5 cents. We enter into a long, and then we see something like we saw back in November of 2023, where it's just candle after candle after candle, breaking these resistance levels, and taking ADA back to $1, and eventually back to all-time highs. I did see a super chat from Poman saying, can you take a look at ADA and Bitcoin? I sure can. Let's take a peek at ADA BTC. Getting rejected at the 200-day moving average also. Look at that. Huh? How funny. So that's ADA versus Bitcoin on the daily. On the weekly, let's get rid of this. Let's throw on. Just taking a peek. logging data and info before I open my mouth and speak on it. Nothing on market side for B. It's on the weekly. Let's go to the daily. We did get a green dot. This was on Wednesday. A little bit of divergence from the RSI and the stochastic, so that's interesting. But ADA BTC, again, if we zoom out on this chart, right? I mean, this is a pretty down chart. Let's get rid of that. Let's take a peek here. The big level for me that I'm eyeballing for ADA BTC is this 1.52% level. Oh, no, this is ADA dominance. What am I doing here? Jesus Christ. There we go. I promise this is not my first time pulling up the ADA BTC chart, okay? Okay, there we go. Jesus Christ. Okay, this is ADA BTC. Okay, so let's start over on this one. So not very bullish, not being able to reclaim this high here on ADA BTC. And let me drop that high there, right? That's the high that I have my eye on, and I can even drop a horizontal for you guys. You take a look. This has been a key level for ADA versus Bitcoin. This is a level that we saw it top out, was resistance. We saw a drawdown. Here we saw the price of ADA versus Bitcoin consolidate. Here again, consolidate, support, eventually broke down. And then this last move up we had, this was the beginning of March when ADA had that massive rally. We failed to even get back to this previous high. And so this chart is fairly flat. It's hard to make ground on Bitcoin, and this is going to be such an obvious statement. It's hard to make ground on Bitcoin when Bitcoin is crushing, right? And so it's one thing to keep your eye on. But we are seeing increased volumes on the moves up. That's fairly good. But yeah, I mean, nothing on this chart tells me that hey, we're gonna get a massive breakout. This is on the weekly. Do have a little double bottom here on the weekly for ADA versus BTC. But again, this level I'm looking at, that is a level we want to clear. And then the picture becomes much clearer, right? And actually, let me do, like, you guys see this? Once we clear this level, it's a massive gap. No, not you. There's like nothing here until you get here, okay? And that is again where price consolidated up here. This is your 2268 level. And so we break that level, we're talking, but for now, there's really, it's been underperforming as BTC. And so again, until that structure changes, for me, you're better off being in BTC. I have my ADA bag in my long-term bucket, so I don't necessarily, panic, or I don't really panic at all really with my portfolio. But I don't really sit there and say, oh, ADA is going to die and I should sell all my ADA and be in Bitcoin. For me, ADA is a long-term play. I love what they're doing. I believe in the project and I believe in the community. IMX, let's take a peek at IMX. Also, guys, if you're not subbed to the channel, please subscribe. And then join our Discord and get the VVIP access to our trading group. It's free. We don't charge you anything. It's pretty easy to go get in there. Okay, let me pull up an IMX chart here. So big news out of IMX, and I already forgot the news. That's how big it was. My brain has so much going on. But this, okay, so this is the weekly. Let's start with, yeah, we are a long ways away, my friend, before we can talk about this being in an uptrend. I mean, these moving averages are so far apart. I mean, what is that gap? That's a 56% gap. So that would be the first thing on the higher time frame, right? You want to see this 9-day cross above the 26-day. Second one is the cloud. We're nowhere near getting a twist. And the third is trading above. And so realistically, on a higher time frame, the structure of this chart really doesn't change until you're over $2.35 for IMX. Now on the daily, let's get rid of you. Daily looks much better. Looks better, but it doesn't look really good. Rejection of our cloud. You can see the last time this happened. This is me being as objective as possible, right? Last time we saw a Kumo cloud rejection, it was a 53% drawdown. 53% drawdown. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see something similar. In fact, what we are potentially seeing the creation of is a cup and handle pattern that should see a break to the upside. And that measured move, if this plays out, depending on where we break, gives you a 83 cent price of one IMX token. And so, but again, this one actually, I might be interested in a short. Let's take a peek. This one actually might be interested in a short for IMX. I want to take a look at the daily. So we do have, so market cipher B looks good on the daily, right? The indicators, money flow crossed over, VWAPs trading above, RSI stochastics pointing up, momentum wave expanding to the upside. These are all great on market cipher B. Let's take a peek at market cipher A. Green dot on market cipher A. So the indicators are telling us that this thing is going to go up, but our other indicators, our more support and resistance indicators, are telling us we should see a drawdown from IMX before we see a rally rally to the upside. Kind of cycling through the different time frames here. I bet you. Yeah, you see these bands, look at these bands on the 1 hour, okay? So the 1 hour bands, it looks like they're starting to expand, right? They were pretty tight, as you can see here. These bands get tight, we see big moves. And on the hourly, we did break below our cloud, which is not good. But there's still, how much time's left on this candle? There's still, was that 6 minutes left? So we'll see what price does. We should catch some support at our lower Bollinger Band here, which sits at around 58.2 cents on IMX. So for me, definitely not looking for a long here. I might be looking for a short, into the handle part of our cup and handle pattern. And this thing should catch support around 47.8 cents for IMX. So that's what I'll be looking at. And then the last one I'll take a look at is near protocol. Let's take a peek at near. My top 3 favorite projects. I still hold near. I haven't sold any, but I'm not nearly as bullish on near as I used to be. That's the thing, guys. And that was my one recommendation to you is don't fall into your own echo chamber and just be so set on a project and its potential because you hold a lot of it. Try to be as objective as possible and the trend. You are in a market that is moving extremely fast, that is changing finance extremely fast. And when that happens, you got to be ever more vigilant to make sure that you are allocated to the correct projects and you're maximizing your ROI. Because if you're stuck in projects that you like, or maybe you bought the top and you just want to break even, you will lose money. You will lose money. Okay. Near, let's walk through our orders of operation. That is too far to look at. Again, so we're seeing something similar on near that we saw with ADA. And let's get rid of you and let's get rid of you. Okay. So fairly good price action, right? From the low of around $1.97, increasing volume on the move up. But again, also very similar to IMX. Last time near approached its Kumo cloud and got rejected. Price went down 40 cents. That is where we are now, although we are coming out of a nice W pattern here as we made a higher low here on near protocol. But for me, I'm not touching a long trade on near until we can break above around $2.90. We break above $2.90, then we can speak about a long. This would be a similar trade setup for me that I would take with IMX, which would be a short. But again, this looks much better because if we go back to IMX was already printing a red candle off of this rejection. Near hasn't done that yet. And to be fair, there's still 2 hours left in this candle, in the daily candle. And so we could very well get follow through momentum, push through this cloud, get up to that $3.10 level, come back and retest, then we can talk about a long at around $2.90. But for me, keep your eye on a potential short, and you can use things like Market Cipher B to see if we do get a red dot up here on Market Cipher B. We take a look at Market Cipher A. So Market Cipher A is showing us that the previous uptrend is coming to an end, and we should see a downtrend. That is what this purple triangle is telling us. You see here, example, right? We were in an uptrend. We got this flash, and then we came down. We're in an uptrend. This is flashing. You know what? Actually, I am... do I want to enter a short right now? Now, you know what? Those of you that are part of our trading group in our Discord, I might be entering into a short here. I will tell you guys exactly when, why, and with how much leverage and how much capital in the Discord. And so if you're part of our VVIP trading group, make sure to have your eyes on the Sin City Trades channel. And those of you that are not, you can still do so. Get in there. But this is a trade that I have my eye on for a potential short. With that being said, guys, that's all for the show today. I want to thank every single one of you for joining me. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you to Poman for your financial contributions to the show. And Blocky, I look forward to your email. Email me and we'll go from there. With that being said, guys, love you very much. Have a great weekend. Make sure you sub to the channel, have a notification on, because I don't know when I will be going live tomorrow for the trading show. Got to take a look at the kids' soccer and flag football schedules. And so you guys know I try to be an active father in my kids' lives. But anyways, see you guys tomorrow. Until then, peace.